Oh well, I guess. Well, that's making it worse. I guess that's better. Well, hello everyone. If you're catching the replay, welcome, welcome. I'm Steve. Mark's not around, and this is Smokey Steve and Marc. Welcome, welcome back. Who do I see? I see Andy. Hello. I see Miss McPhoebe. Hello. Seeing people hopefully start to come in a little bit. It is promising to be stormy weather. Hey, Mr. McPhoebe. Captain Spaulding, hello from Texas. Hey, old broad. It's getting kind of dark out. They're predicting thunderstorms and there's a tornado watch. So, Shih Tzu, Christine, Brandy, Cindy, Dorothy, hello everybody. Thank you for joining us. So, Mark's out, of course, running errands because it's gonna. Suki, well, welcome, welcome. So, we'll see. I don't know. There's plenty of places that could use the rain now. I wish we could trade. So, hey, Annie. So, we'll see. So, if we do, for whatever reason, get disconnected, hey, Ruby, I'll come back. I mean, I'll restart the live and come back. You'll probably have to search and find and click it again. But, hey, Mariah, hello. Ash, hello. Hibista, hello. So if it gets really jacked up or it cuts out, I'm going to reopen it. Unless we get up to like 6:58 and it cuts off. But major storm, loss of power, wow. We're right next door, too, in Pennsylvania. So, hi, Jamie. I'm telling you, if it was possible, hey, Dom, how are you? Lila, well, I'm glad you could catch us live, too. So, thank you for joining us. Thank you for being here. Moody, I see another one come in. Before all the Facebook nonsense begins, I want to say I harvested my first tomato today. That is fantastic, Christine. You know what? The neighbor just told me he was in our yard. And same thing, he said there's a red, right, perfectly good tomato to have. And I'm dehydrating everything that'll sit still long enough. So, you know, I think we're going to have a lot of tomato-type powder coming up. Hey, Irene. Weather doesn't look good. Yeah, we're not... Thing is that we were coming off a drought. So you'll get some localized street flooding around here, but... I don't know. Yes, Carabella, Girl World is imploding. Thank God we're over here watching all sorts of aspects of it. I mean, beyond just Chantal. But it's like 6 degrees of your life will suck if you're like close to Chantal in that circle. People who were VIBs, people who are VIBs. And it seems like several different people have their own kind of agenda. I don't know. No, she wasn't the star this week. Cabbages, we're waiting on cabbages. Spaghetti squash from the garden, very nice, very nice. We're not gonna have green peppers, I think. We might have one. We'll have a ton of plum tomatoes. The herbs are growing better in the backyard garden than in the front, but that's because the front only gets like minimal sun. So, yes, Carabella, I don't know. I'm just watching the show, sharing a few thoughts in a timeline. That's all we'll be doing. So, thank you all for joining us. Thank you for being here. Today we are going to catch up with our fair lady Chantal. Chantal Marie, Foodie Beauty, Big Beautiful Meat, The Daily Chantal, Chantopolis, Chantal on the Rocks. Did she have that one or did I make that up? And Foodie Beauty again. Current news is people are like, well, where is she? As of me starting the live, she hadn't gone live in a few days. So, the questions floating around Twitter and whatnot is like, where is she? Where is she? Where is she? So, Miriam, yes. Where did Miriam go? On a pilgrimage, perhaps? So, she ain't around right now. But she had a relatively busy week regardless. And you'll have to forgive me. I have some topics written down for us to chat about, so I'll be talking for a lot of the time. There also might be a little out of order because I was going through pulling notes on all the different stuff. You think hospital or Canada? I think trying to get out of having to walk is worth the doctor's note for her. I think she wants a doctor's note for Sala, so he'll be like, hey, would you just leave me alone? It's medically not advised for her to get up and do anything. Mare, hello, hello, how are you? Eating and hypertension. Well, she said, big surprise, I have high blood pressure. Actually, it's not. It's not. And I'm sure there was much more wrong than what she had said. And it was curious timing. With BB, I recall, she... Oh, God. I just lost my train of thought. She's totally in Canada. The health check was for that. Maybe. Oh, that's possible. Now, she did have business in Canada, said she was going to go, but that it was, and then she, of course, publicly fudged the timeline so she could travel in what she thinks is peace, because she's Diana Ross. And she would be mobbed by people as she drove by on the luggage cart in the airport. So I think she thinks she's like extra special in that way. But unfortunately for her, the shape of her body is noticeably different at this point. And the idea that getting into it, like, remember she was at the movies? It looked like, so put her in a plane. And people who get blood clots, it can be ill advised to travel, but by air. And she has a whole host of other problems. I think Chantal feels like if I don't know about them, they're not happening. You know, if I don't realize it. Michelle, like, she's had, fatty liver, all the other stuff. And so that's what I think about clinics. I think we go to clinic to try to get a doctor's note to get out of life. She always had something. Budget tamer. Yeah. Head in the sand. Yes, it'll keep her nice and busy. So here's hoping, I guess. So the few points I was going to go over. Her continued antagonizing the individuals who are doing things against her family, to her, the car towing and the other things people have mentioned. She was continuing to go back and forth with them, even though it wasn't causing harm to her specifically, it was causing harm to her family. And anyone who knows Chantal knows that if you hurt her family, you're not hurting her. She goes in and out on, talking to them and being with them and around them and stuff. She's said as much in the past. So, hey, broad. Yeah. So, antagonizing, I keep saying antagonizing people. So, we have baby girl. She got the cat's name wrong because when it's only a prop, whatever. The trip to the clinic that she took with Sala, and that trip was after they went in the same time frame that they went for a short walk, apparently. So the next day she needed to be seen from going on a 5-minute walk. Oh, am I jealous? So jealous. I'm not the picture of health at all. It's been a healthier year for Steve than before, but from a viewer perspective, this is much more sense. There hasn't been this kind of like daily explosive stuff, but it's community wide. It's throughout lots of girl world, people getting sucked in. The stuff with Kaya that's been going on. She stole the crown, so Chantal's gonna have to come out of retirement and reclaim it with something. So we'll see. She went to the BP machine at the mall. She would have recorded a real medical visit. Michael, that makes a lot of sense. Well, she might not show the paperwork if there's nothing she can say that they took a test for and it went well. Like, I think they would want to run tests if she said. But, like, every part of her has a problem. Every part of her has a problem. And the fact that she has a co-occurring psychiatric concern, which is also kind of culturally relative. Depending on where you are in the world, this Western idea of mental illness might not fly. I personally don't think it's a Western idea. I think it's a thing, but that's not everyone, and that's not everywhere. And so there might be a different reaction to her getting get out of life free cards. Oh, I can't do this, it's too much. Oh, I can't do that, it's too much. Her real weight would be on it, and I think she doesn't want to show it. And that's her prerogative, Oh my God, yeah. Hey, Lush. Talking about how cheap the healthcare was and how it was less than $10 to have a lot of stuff done. Go for an immediate check, lab works, doctor's office, not a quick stop. Yeah. But I'm wondering, like, she admitted to chest pain right after doing the walk. And so maybe Sala went, hey, you have chest pain? Maybe we should go get you checked out. Yeah, they took her weight. She just doesn't want to. It's not positive right now to show her weight, I guess. So she's not going to bring it up. But, like the rest of us can see, like, this isn't like a really well executed hustle to have people think that she weighs less or whatnot. And I think she would say largely, weight shouldn't matter. Well, it shouldn't, but for certain nuts and bolts of life, not everything can be accommodated. So I'm thinking that, Sandy, like urgent care. Yeah, no EKG for chest pain. None. I'm sure it was the first thing she said because it's the most serious thing to lead with. And they either didn't give her anything flattering or there was nothing to show her. Hi, Jake. So they would have been free in Canada with her healthcare, but yeah, better in Kuwait. Thing is that she has so many. I wonder what her access to psychiatric care would be in Kuwait. I would have to do some research for that. I am curious though. I was looking for a live stream of Kuwait City to see if it's really true that nobody goes out during the day, that everyone stays home with the AC cranked down to 60 Fahrenheit. So, and then a fast watch. You're first in the ER in the US. Either say, well, I'll give you another hint. Tell them you're bipolar. They let you cut the line too. They don't really want you in the waiting room when you're having symptoms. So, that's why she just to lay the groundwork. She mentioned her on the. We'll talk about the clinic thing. She had mentioned also prior to that she has asthma. She's like, oh, and my asthma, the sheesh was fine, perfectly fine, and she would smoke anything under the sun when she was in Canada, but she has asthma. They'll give anybody an inhaler if you say you have asthma. But the thing is, she probably does. But acknowledging that acknowledges that her weight has compromised her health in a way like you can't hide. Like, you can cover up your body. You can't hide very well that you can't breathe. She said she finds it embarrassing. I believe her. I believe her. If Chantal's like 1% human, then she probably has a little bit of discomfort because she looks so much different than everybody else. And it's not like she was struck by lightning. This was a series of choices Chantal has made over a long period of time that have resulted in the life that she has now. And it's always curious when she insists people are jealous of it. If I was able to do YouTube, full-time, travel, not have to do... I mean, that would be nice. But I would never want to do the stuff she does. And if that's the measuring stick, if she's backed herself into a corner where this is the only kind of content she's going to have. So, I don't know. But I wouldn't feel okay running around the house. I'm bald, we have that. Though her hair is apparently growing back. She said she was doing a Muslim Q&A that nobody asked for or something. And she said that she can pull her hair back in a little thing. I'm curious about that. And, she's talking long term. Oh, too bad you guys will never see my hair again. Put a pin in that and we'll check in next year. And we'll see. So, I don't know. Her depression meds are over the counter. It's dangerous. Yeah, Oh no, Andy, she was collagen. Just make sure you load up on collagen and you'll fill in all those spots. I've never tried collagen. I tried Rogaine when I was 19. And it does stuff for the part in the back, but nothing in the front. It doesn't trigger the hair stuff up here. So, such is life. But I think she'll get rid of it. She'll get sick of it. She'll get sick of the whole thing. The costumes, the air conditioning. This trip, if she's back in Canada now, I'm wondering if deep down in her head, she's thinking, do I really want to go back? I think a lot of people assume that he would ghost her at some point, or that the ultimate goal was to get him to Canada. And all these side stories and move here and I'm never going back is just more Chantal fluff to try to confuse, what might be going on. Chantal's using Missy Moo's rage at reaction channels because she's afraid to do it herself right now. Missy Moo, I had caught that she was trying to reach out in the US to give the name of Music Biz Marty to try to... She called where she believed, the city she believed he lived in, called the police, and she tried to explain her position, but I think she was more angry and afraid something would happen. I didn't get the impression from the officer that they thought it was like actionable. And the fact the officer on the phone with her did say, if you're the victim of the crime and you're in another country, that's where it has to be addressed. I didn't get the impression she was going to let it go. So Missy Moo will dive in and do now. The only thing I remember about Missy Moo is that she was tight with Chantal, then not, and then I don't know now. I don't really know. So, but yeah, the everyone loves some police interaction. I don't know why. Everybody loves some police interaction. Chantal says that well. So the trip to the clinic She said Saba did the talking, and the thing is though, if they were gonna run tests, I was thinking like blood work, liver scan, um, that kind of thing. But someone did something horrible to what? I didn't hear about that. I only run past a few. Open the mustard pickle pretzels for the live stream. That's my dilemma. Go for it, Mayor. Live hard. So, suddenly, also, as she was talking about having gone to the doctor, when she was trying to reassure, I think, Sala, because she did a video after she couldn't walk very well. And they went into the desert. Well, we'll start with that. They were going to go for a night walk in the desert. And they were going to walk 10 minutes, 5 one direction, 5 back, something similar. So Chantal sounds winded just getting out of the car. Not news, but I wonder if she's maybe scaring herself a little bit here and there. She started walking. It looked difficult. You could see her shadow. No. It's telling as well. Sala was with her, but then she started walking alone. He had to go back to his car to make a phone call. And she was still there. She thought she saw a snake or something and stopped walking. And then he came and she turned around, thought somebody else was coming in the middle of the desert at night. It was Sala. And so she didn't walk very much, but still felt it a whole lot. So I think, maybe they had a heart to heart and he shared his concerns for her health. Maybe. I don't know. And suggested back with the diet boxes, back with this. All she's getting is healthier takeout. I mean, the diet meals look like diet meals from whatever service she was getting them from. But she changes up her like of food so often that like there's nobody who can touch it. Her food are so far and away, so big. Like nobody else who's obese or more super morbidly obese, whatever, deals with cravings, overeating, setbacks, losing weight. Most of the people I know who've lost weight and kept it off might have had a plateau in the middle of all that, but they use those as times to buckle down, not to give up. She never got further than where the car headlights could illuminate. Yeah. So, the rice. Good God, Loma Snap. Is it me? I know rice is, filler. Like when you get Chinese food, they'll give you 5 things of white rice because it's not, lobster. But every meal she gets, even the ones that are supposed to be healthier, there was fried zucchini, stuffed vegetables one time. There was the other time she was eating, it was fried fish. She loved the fish. The cat loved the fish. We all loved the fish. The cat, which would not come on the table if it wasn't given table food every time it came up. But, we live what we learn, I guess. If you think you're hungry, I suppose. So when she was giving this lamenting speech about how it's hard to do this and it's hard to do that, and then she said the words ED, not erectile dysfunction, the other one. And I'm like, all of a sudden, again, another doctor's note. Well, I'm not just greedy, I have an illness. Okay. I have a couple too. Most of mine are psychiatric. The only physical thing I have is like osteoarthritis. Oh well. That got off lucky from being fat for so long. But Chantal's closing in on 40, and I just passed 41. Things can start to go south fast. Bodies, I don't look the same. My weight isn't distributing the same. All that stuff. Carabelle, I lost weight with my anxiety. She eats on her nerves. But she eats when she's happy. She eats when she's sad. She eats food she likes. She gets very excited. These diet meals are not tickling her in the right place. Going to the desert to walk because the sand adds difficulty. Yeah. And she lives across the street. But when she lived across the street, like, she wouldn't go outside. They went once, and she saw a small landing in the sand that she couldn't step down. Well, she could step down, but she couldn't get back up. And she has Sala with her, who is, Kung Fu Beanpole. And what's he going to do? He's not going to be able to lift her. He's going to have to go get help. But if he can't move her, he's going to have to leave her there. Go get somebody and come back. It's beyond just appearance. I think when she hears fat, she thinks ugly. The other implications that go with it, I think some people would agree, go with Chantal. The things she's accused of being lazy, self-indulgent, selfish, all that kind of stuff. If she has a mental health concern, that makes it out of her control, which is exactly where she wants it to be, because ownership, responsibility, all that stuff, I don't know. Walk on the beach at midnight? Oh, that would have made too much sense. Would have made too much sense. So, hard to walk on the sand. It is hard to walk on the sand. Anything is hard to walk on. She's 400 pounds. She's a very large woman. It's a spectacle. Now, she wasn't wrong that Kuwait has a disproportionately high population of obese people. But I wonder, I would want to ask her, what, like, do you see women like you walking around? Do you see other Western, maybe not traditionally pretty necessarily, but could be women who are with men that look kind of like, there's a lid for every pot, but they don't look like a match, maybe. I'm curious if she sees those folks. We're going to go with 400, Kathy. I'm going to stay on the, it's not what she claims, but Chantal's 5'1", which is why she's becoming very round, because she can't grow fat on the top of her head and become 6'2". She's gonna go outward. She's gonna start getting fat storing places like those sisters, the Slayton sisters with the heavy foreheads. Like when your body runs out of fat and it goes to your forehead. Obese in Kuwait's 30 pounds overweight. It's different. See, like when we write our own statistics, we just move the goalposts so we can lie to ourselves about being about being healthy. So her apartment complex is, from what I understand, the gym is like downstairs. Like, it's right there. It's all excuses. It's just because she's uncomfortable. She's not in any measure of pain, I don't think. It's just uncomfortable, and she can't be bothered with any level of discomfort. She said she was having soup in one of her mukbangs this week because she was sick. So she said she made tomato rice soup. It looked like there was some ramen in it. I think there was a bug in it. Don't quote me. And then ate everything with it. When she was going for the healthy food, she broke up like half a bag of Biscoff cookies into her yogurt. And then had crackers in one hand and cheese in the other. So, 5'1", and when I was 200, I legit felt my arse on the back of my thighs. Yeah. Chantal knows she's fat. She's not in denial about that. She's just not, nothing is compelling enough for her to try to change. Not to please Sawa, not to make content, but to change, like, her life. Like, she's, this almost too fat to walk shit is a turning point. In fact, she may have already turned. It's hard to tell what's so touch and go. And remember, Life by Jenna was just more lies, drama, and everything till she died. Till she passed away. And then it seemed like a little more real. It's a lesson to anybody to certainly don't take your age for granted. I think Jen she was only a handful of years older. Shaves years and years and years off your life, She should have brought her walker to Kuwait. She should have. I wonder about handicap accessibility for the kind that she needs. Or, if she's taking public transportation, is she able to fit? I mean, she never would. She's above that. But 3 times a healthy weight, yeah. At 5'1", let's say she's supposed to be, we'll go moderate, 120 or something like that. She's twice my weight, and I'm not 10 inches taller than her. I can't fathom that. And she wants to keep her dignity, but there's things that you can't hide. You can't fake your way through not being able to walk. You can't challenge people to want your life, and you can't breathe. That's not what a lot of people are going to want for themselves or do for themselves. So, convinced she gets disability. She said, what did she say? I wonder how her taxes are going to shake down. It's always a nightmare when you have different countries, even different states in the U.S. It's a bitch to do your taxes. But she said there's no income tax in Kuwait, so I don't know. Pure misery. The closest I've been to Chantal's weight, I was like 290. When I met Mark, I was in rehab. And when I met Mark, I was about 290. Because in rehab, it was my 4th month in treatment, and there's nothing to do. Everyone's trying to fill the space with something because we haven't learned how to deal yet. And so we all ate. We all put on a bunch of weight. So, dragging her left leg, walking. She's going to start to see asymmetry, like when people were discussing the weight gaining on just one side of her face and her hiding with the hijab. Um, you know, in the U.S., yeah, she'd get it. She would. She'd probably have to try a few times, but her YouTube income still goes to her Canadian account, so she still owes taxes. Oh, good. I hope for her sake she's able to stay accountable and not owe years worth. I mean, if you keep all your money and don't pay taxes, then you're spending money that rightfully isn't yours. I mean, if you live in a country, that's just what it is. Whether they're high, whether they're low, you can move. She did, at least temporarily. So, high blood pressure is the silent killer. Can't imagine Chantal did all the required documentation for disability. It's a bitch. And 60% of people in the US get rejected on the first try of trying to apply for it. We're talking people who are like diagnosed blind, people who have prosthesis, people who maybe won't be able to work again because they were a mechanic and their hand got jammed up and whatever. So if you have to be unable to do meaningful work and support yourself to get disability in the US. You can get lower forms of it. I mean, if you're on just some meds or something, you could probably get Medicaid in your state or something like that. But, you know, and you can try to stack it away, but, I mean, collecting the benefits, I mean, it's not unemployment for drama queens. It's supposed to be because a person can't make enough to pay their own way. People who only live on their disability, at least around here, you can tell. Usually seniors, though there's an incredible number of 20-year-olds on disability for things I don't know. Milk tea is the smartest in girl world. I would co-sign that. I love milk tea. She's got a good personality. She's honest. She doesn't just get a quick jab, a quick stiletto to the ribs just to get one in. On the even-handed side, and she's just lovely. She's just lovely. So, hi, sorry, how are you? And Milk Tea knows her stuff, and she's traveled and lived within I mean, every country has its own culture, but within the area, so she's semi-familiar with the things I think a lot of us wouldn't be. And I believe that she is actually telling the truth and knows what she's talking about. She doesn't seem, I mean, she wouldn't lie about the immigration process just to make Chantal look bad. I don't think. So I never got that impression from Milk Tea, never. Severe sciatica, use of cane, asthma, heart issue, but worked every single day for 20 years full time. Now work in the yard. It can be done. People with challenges of any kind, physical, mental, whatever, we live, we go on. Like, I have a history of, you know, what Chantal wants notes for. But you, Milk Tea, and Alex are currently the only unscathed reactors. Well, I think it's because it's an observation. It's sharing thoughts. Every once in a while I get a little pissed and I have what I think you should tell. Chantal should do this. If she did this, she'd be fine. Like, I fucking know. God knows what she needs. She don't. And Saul is working on it, but I don't think he does either. And for good or for ill, real or imagined, he's going to be around for a little while. Again, I wonder if the ghosting was always thought that, like, he would go wherever. But if she came back to the Western world, got a little free time and no lives so she can let her hair all hang out, maybe she'll get a taste of that and not want to go back and sit in a tiny apartment that was turned down to 60 degrees Fahrenheit. So, Chris, I'm finding out there's a lot more of that out there to be had, a lot more crazy. There is. I don't like Chantal, but this new trolling is too dark for me. It's nothing I've seen so far. I mean, I've been reviewing Chantal for 3 or 4 years, and it's not anything I had seen previously. Threats of that kind I had seen, but not a YouTuber reporting back that something actually got interfered with in the real world. I don't know. I hate to say it's par for the course because it kind of normalizes it, but individuals who do that kind of stuff are on YouTube. They're on every social media. And, you know, fish gotta swim, birds gotta fly, I guess. I don't have any updates on Natter's court case myself. Natter stays pretty far off my radar for the most part. I feel better about myself because I never really liked Natter very much. He's a little smug and self-important. It's one thing if you've got something to brag about, but, and I don't mean Dee Dee, I mean a lifestyle, you know. Potpourri of entertaining content with a smidge of Chantal. Thank you, Oranges. That's about it. Because I mean, we do other stuff. We like other stuff. Now, of course, a lot of people know who Chantal is. They like her and they like to check in. So those are the biggest videos we have, and they're the fullest lives that we have too. So we make more talking about her because a lot more people want to talk about her because of an highly moderated or closed comment section does not encourage discourse. Now, YouTube probably wanted it because they built comment sections into videos. So it's supposed to invite, discussion, opinions, not just compliments though. When you see a bunch of nice comments all the way in the row and then there's one that challenges you to think maybe you should have thought differently or spoke differently, those can be owies. And you can kind of look at yourself and look what you said, maybe watch the video back and see if you feel differently or weren't thrilled about it. She'd never done anything like that. She never done anything like that. Pulpy is good too, yes. Thank you, going by. It's just pulpies are really long, and I don't, like when I'm doing dishes or housework, I'll have my earbud in and I'll be listening to different ones, like Alex or whoever. What do you think of... Michael, I since started, I stopped doing my homework about 5:30. All I had heard was the call that she made, but nothing else. I haven't heard it. And I honestly, her life intersected with Chantal's, but unless they're back on speaking terms, they don't. So, Gigi, hello dear, hello. Pulpy's good background. He is. Good background. If I'm watching our videos back or whatever, I listen to them back to see if I made sense, to see if I slipped up, to see if I thought it was organized well, to see if the lighting was good, like that kind of stuff. So, are you serious? Are you being served? When I lived in college, I didn't have cable because I couldn't afford it. So I watched a lot of public television. And they had all those British shows on. Yeah, Dove, it's more like reporting on it. And that's what I feel like he does. He adds room for opinion, but there's ways to express opinions. There's ways that will maybe get you respected. There's ways that'll get you trashed. There's ways that you just do it to be hurtful. So I put up your videos when you're down. Thank you very much. 3 years ago this week. How far have we... Oh my God, Andy. I look at first of all, from 2018, I was 50 pounds thinner because I had just gotten to my first weight loss goal. Then COVID hit and laziness hit on top of COVID. And next thing you know, we were fat again. Then I lost for the wedding and then gained again after that. So let's see. So another thing that happened this week was she had a few rages in response to the stuff that was being said, plotted, however you want to kind of put that. And she had said during one of these rages that she didn't particularly care if she lost any VIBs because her money comes from ads anyway. So she would be perfectly fine financially if the VIBs didn't. So what a smack in the face. She lost 900 subs over a period of a couple days. The bleeding has stopped, but how do you defend not defending the only people who defend you? It just revealed itself to be very one way from the way Chantal spoke about it. And people were sick of it. And if Chantal's is, people come, people go, they all come back, which means when she asks a question to the chat while she's, doing whatever, it's so insincere because you find out later you're just a number. You're just a number that brings in numbers and watches things to make me money. There is no relationship beyond that. I know some people keep their circle real small, and maybe they're friends with a couple subs and they're moderators, or, they're pretty closed off otherwise. I'll talk to anybody. I don't care. I would have choice things to say to some folks, but that's neither here nor there. So she thought, well, new people found her this time. She lost all of them. There was Cuba Rage, people came back. And then there was, what was the other one? People come back. They do come back. She's not wrong about that. But if she continues that, she's never going to hit the 100,000 subs that she wants to get. She's never going to reach it if she keeps losing 1,000 every so often because she runs her mouth. So, and then people always speculate how many dead accounts account for her 94 whatever thousand some. Um, I don't know. I don't know. I've seen in the metrics that she bought subs one time, or she unexpectedly came into 600 one day and then conspicuously lost all 600 the next day. Um, and I know Social Blade isn't 100% accurate because I look at our page and the math isn't right. But it's not so far off that people would be misunderstood. 900 active subs, the majority of them are dead subs. Well, she started her, what was it? I forget, I was just looking today. 2016, 14? I forget when she came on YouTube. She was on like 3 years doing the mukbangs before we got to there. And mukbangs bring in people for any number of reasons. She defends it now like, I don't know, like, this is all I have left to make money from. And it is, but she almost wants to seem like pity because, oh, look what I have to do to get by. I have to force feed myself all this food and all this rice. Oh my God, the rice. I always wondered who would buy those 20-pound bags of rice in the store. I thought if you own a restaurant or you have 10 kids, maybe, but she's going through it. She'll never qualify for a plaque. We'll see, Jamie. Never say never. You know, sometimes people can turn, if not their life around, their channel around, I guess. So, dead subs that are subs are no longer active. From the numbers that she goes up and down, there's not a whole lot. But does that high number, even with dead accounts, well, no, I guess it wouldn't help out too much. At any rate, she'll lose them again. She will get them again, she will lose them again. And then get them again and then lose them again. She can't help but shoot herself in the foot and then blame the person across from her, you know? 50 pounds at a time, now that's rice. That's rice. I doubt she has more than 15 active subs. That's about what I'm thinking. That's about what I would guess, that it's far more modest, you know? It'll be brief, you know, she'll get to 100,000 and then there'll be like a call to cancel and it won't work, they never do, but it'll bring her down maybe a few hundred, just keep it just out of reach. Just out of reach. You know, and you can buy your own subs, but you might as well buy your own trophy or your own plaque if that's what you're going to do. So, I don't know. But 900 subs is a drop. Is a definite drop. Lay that against what, this stream isn't about Kaya, but lay that against Kaya, who had a much, much, much smaller channel, about 7,500 subs, and lost 13 to 1,500 in just a couple days because of the situation that happened on her channel. So, I don't know. Chantal she can absorb the hit. I'll put it that way. And she'll get those back. Will she get more? I don't know. I think she thought going to the Middle East was gonna like totally rebrand and this and that. Bye, Chris. Thanks for coming. But yeah, Carabella, she's losing a lot quick because I was gonna say the perception, but I saw the video. There's the reality that crimes like her betrothed, whatever he is, committed, are victimless. People can have a slip of the tongue, but just say victims don't count. That's what it sounds like. That's what it means, is that victims don't count. No matter what the age the victims were. Yeah, her rebrand to boring didn't really kind of do it. I think she thought she'd grow. I think she thought people would have... She likes spectacle, and they're an odd couple, one next to the other, because they are so different. And that has train wreck appeal, because people so different could clash. But Salah seems very chill, very much into his video games, leave me alone, don't bother me. I wonder if people were just bothering him to get a wife, and he figured, well, I'll just get one I can keep at home. So they'd all shut up, and he could still explain it away. Plus, who knows what kind of social life he has outside of that. She doesn't have any, like, girlfriends. She made sure of that quick. She hates other women. She's always so suspicious. They're trying to get one over on her, steal her man, all that kind of stuff. But she would be placed with the other women if they went to like social events or something. Like she said, a wedding, you would have dancing, for example, but it would be men on one part, women on the other part. So, oh, his goofy eye fuck? Yeah. I don't know. I would have to say, he's not the handsomest man in the world. But I would say he's probably the handsomest man she's been with since I've watched, you know. BB wasn't bad looking. I think BB was short because he wasn't terribly taller than Chantal, and she's 5'1". Handsomest man. We could do a remix called "Get Me My Passport and Leave Me Alone." Her channel's been reported thousands of times, which disqualifies her. Yeah. Granny and grandson, that comes up a lot. People will say that they look, I mean, like I said, an odd couple. An odd is fine. Mark and I are an odd couple, you know, outside the gay shit. We're still a little, we have very different interests. We have very different things that we like to do. But if I went out with Mark and I couldn't walk more than 5 minutes, he would intervene and then probably lay an ultimatum. Because if I was playing fast and loose with any other area of my health like that, so it would be easier to come in. I mean, she eats. I used to drink. I get it. You want it when no one can imagine you'd want it. You want it first thing in the morning. You want it in the middle of the night. You want to have mac and cheese at 5 o'clock, thinking of BB again. So everything Stella does makes me want to punch a wall. I can't imagine spending. Not me, not for me, but for her, it's fine. She just wants, she said, all you had to do was fake love me. This looks like fake love to me, so if that's all she wanted, then maybe she is happy. That makes me sad for her, if she kind of thinks the best I can do is something on, you know. She can buy subs just like our Cynthia Belmont. Man, did she ever love you guys. Thank you, Justine, for the super chat. Thank you, thank you. Yeah, I couldn't do it. I couldn't do the mukbangs. I had a video forever ago called like anorexic mukbang, and I think I sat there. I had a Wassa cracker, a third of an apple, and some mustard, and that was my mukbang while I talked about food issues and stuff. Tex, you probably have a point. You know, I don't think of Chantal as being that deep, but what if the illusion of love isn't enough? The illusion of everything else keeps her sane. You know, she puts things in place so she can kind of pretend. She's so angry all the time. That's not a happy person. It's not a happy person. Not a happy person. A thought on her outfit. Because she said that she likes it for modesty's sake. And she did say in so many words, it's to cover her body. She feels more comfortable. And the motives are different though. Is she covering up her body so that other men won't look at her in respect to her husband? Or is she covering it because she doesn't like the way she looks? You know, she voluntarily covers up to her nose. Sala, as her husband, could probably make some stern, not so suggestions about how she should dress. And he had mentioned, you know, it don't have to be so covered head to toe. But that's what she wanted to do. And then says, you try to come to Kuwait and do it. You don't have to be bundled up to your nose. If she would have just been honest and said, I like Middle Eastern guys, I like Muslim guys, and if I convert, or at least they think I am, it'll be an easier way to get in. So it's an outfit with an intention, but it's not, she talks about her Muslim faith. What were we watching? It was coming up the last couple days, and talking about Allah and what this means and my relationship with him, and I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? I mean, how are you not laughing talking about it? BB was before YouTube time. BB was okay. BB was never, very rarely on camera. There's a mukbang called Eating with My Annoyed Boyfriend. I don't know how old it is. And it had BB and Chantal in it. And he looks pissed. He wasn't the most smiley guy on camera, but I don't think he did the YouTube thing. And a lot of what she was doing at the time were just mukbangs. There wasn't, like, drama-rama. So, I don't know. And he lived with it, though I think she said their breakup was mutual. I don't believe her, but that's not something relationships ending, even bad relationships ending can feel bad sometimes, but BB was a hard worker, and I think he did great. He would get up way early for work, and she'd still be up from the night before, eating at the table. She did say when she got her hysterectomy stuff done, that he was supportive and took her here and took her there, and I believe that. You know, BB, I never got the impression he was like a slime ball. So, people speculated about why BB was with her. Same thing they do with Sala, that it had to do with him having to be a resident, that he was in the country, not as a citizen, but at some other status, and that looking like he's living with a woman makes it somehow better, or something. So, lobster mac and cheese, yes, Andy. It was going to be a cheat meal, wasn't it? And she lasted 6 hours. BB was sweet. You know how BB, and BB was smart. You know how I know BB was smart? He's never come up again. There's no one's finding footage. There's no old texts from him. None of it. She had suggested that when she was recently single, she had left all her shit at BB's, if we remember, because she moved out into the villa, and she left a bunch of shit there as excuses to go back. And one time she said she propositioned him for sex, and he said no, for reasons known only to him. And she would just have to go back and get more and more shit. Any guy who's with Foodie Beauty, well, any guy with her, but any guy there's always the whiff of a lie or the whiff of a secret going on. And there's always some technical turn of words, usually that she tries to spin around to cover her own ass when she runs her mouth, or trying to cover her own ass when she runs her mouth. But, how can she be living a Muslim lifestyle without, admittedly, just the stuff she admits she doesn't do? The no praying, the no this, the no that. She's already on the damn floor. Just roll over, face Mecca, and do your deal. I had a great aunt who had said with a religion, because I didn't like it. I was brought up Catholic, and it probably did more harm than good in my case. But, her idea was you join the club, you play by the rules, whether it was this or that. So if you don't like no meat on Fridays, well, then stop being that religion and join another one where they don't have to live with those limitations. Chantal instead took on a very strict lifestyle, and because her whole life is online, flouts them. Oh, it's between me and Allah. That's not that she's a scumbag necessarily, but I've heard people try to excuse scumbag behavior of their own by saying, only God can judge me. Only God can judge me. True or untrue, it's basically, I don't care what you think about the bad things I did. I'm not denying them. I'm just saying my friend, God, doesn't care or forgives me or something. So, I'm glad Allah has forgiven you in your heart, but we're going to have to see how the law plays out with a lot of this too. The head covering, it's all she does. Yeah. I'm surprised BB got her out. Chantal, the first thing she does when she shows up is brings large appliances. She's she's said it, I just got to get in there. If I can just get in the apartment, I'll be fine. Because then she starts bringing her shit over and nesting and leaving it there. So there's always a reason to go back. And as long as we're talking about Chantal and wasting police time, what about the little stakeout to get the pieces of her CPAP? Sat outside, gaslit a whole situation, laid into the VIB so that somebody would pick up the phone and the police came. And this was already after he told her to leave. They told her to leave. They were like, get out. I'm sure she had said, if I just go inside, I know where it is. Because she was trying to get in the door. And he slammed it in her face and told her to keep walking, and she got bruised. Everything and everyone else is Islamophobic. I don't know why she's offended. She's not Islamic. She's not. Dom, thank you for the super sticker. Hope you have a good weekend. I know it's busy as F. You're probably out for a smoke. Just let me get in strategy from a young age. I think so. Yes, Premier, her medical device. That would be like if I called the cops because my glasses were somewhere else. These are a medical device. Never made a whole video about them. Never deliberately left them somewhere so I'd have a reason to go back. So, Salah's boring. Salah is boring. He's too boring for her. There's no drama around him. I don't think he'll go for it or he won't play. And he's aware of the connection between her overeating and making money because he's bringing her the damn food. So, Salah's boring. Yeah, she stalked those twin boys when she was 14. Don't forget the French lover who hid in his let herself in, hid in his closet. If she were a guy, this is where gender stereotypes work to her advantage. Because if she was a guy, people would be like, that is disgusting. You broke into a woman's apartment and sat in the closet. That's not, and she's not as discriminate as she would have one believe. She's, slept with that homeless guy and then talked about it like, hey, doesn't everybody pick up transient strangers and sleep with them? No. Most of us don't. Some of us do, probably. I've been to Florida, but some of us don't. So, and then she To close out victimhood, she talked about how she was bullied as a kid in one of the mukbangs, and she was talking about how the kids on the bus were mean. She had to take the bus to school every day from where she lived, and she rode it for years and years and years and years. And all the kids were always so mean to her, and they were older. And hey, Sharon, I'm doing pretty good, thanks. I'm happy to say it was a good week. You know, we had a bunch of shitty ones before that, but it's been a good week. It's been a busy week. It's been a productive week. So thank you for checking in. But the last two, I guess I'll talk about. Her being bullied. I'm sure she was a bully. I'm sure she was a bully. That she had her crowd. She was probably tortured by the A group because I wasn't popular. I know how shit goes down. Tortured by the A group. She was in the B group, and there's always some poor people in the C group. So, you know, like my Romeo and Michelle's high school reunion breakdown of high school sociology. As long as there was somebody to bully, they're pretty privileged. Pretty is in the eye of the beholder, I suppose. She would be diagnosed with something. Well, she did start getting mental health services, residential services as a kid because she had staged and, well, she faked and told her mother she had a suicide attempt. And then when they called her bluff and took her to the ER, she took like 2 extra. But they still kept her. Like, if you want the attention of having an uncontrolled mental illness and you want to go to the hospital and have everyone fuss and pay attention over you, fine, go. But to fake it to get back at somebody, like, it starts young. It starts young. So I would be, you know, I don't know. I have a lot of the same issues as Chantal, which sits with me certain ways, but I've dealt with them differently, and I continue to deal with them differently because, like, weight doesn't go away. Health doesn't go away. It needs maintenance all the damn time. And self-care is, for me, very important, but also difficult. You know, get up at the same time. Take your meds as directed. Do this. Do that. Eat something. Did you drink water today? That kind of stuff. So, C group knows where they stand and moves on with life. The B group, because they desperately want to be in the A group. Yes, I was already so checked out of high school by the end. She said she skipped days for bullying. I didn't skip days for bullying. I wasn't really bullied. But school made me extremely anxious, like terribly anxious, to the point where I would start to have panic and cry when I was in class. I mean, this happened till I was 17. It was a rough childhood. Nothing happened. I was just crying all the time. So I wouldn't want to go to school on the days where I knew that was no, I don't think Chantal has empathy. People have suggested different, when you go through the DSM, the book for mental health things, and people will go through and say, she sounds like this, she sounds like that. And to me, she does. I mean, just to read the book and look up, I'm not a diagnosing professional. So I couldn't say. But if I had to guess, I could guess a few. But the ones I'm even guessing they might be are going unaddressed, so it doesn't matter. If she doesn't think it's a problem, it's not a problem. Hey, Leonie, thank you. Welcome. Glad to have you here. Pull up a seat. I skipped all that. Yeah, I skipped too. Sociopath, lack of empathy. That's when I was saying I've read some books and I wonder. It's everything only exists in relation to her, too. Like, other people having relationships and lives, and she doesn't care. She doesn't watch the news. She doesn't really watch any movies. You know, like, she doesn't... who wasn't... You're right, Mare. I mean, when I was in high school, there was still a kid lower on the food chain than me. One. I was with, you know, the girl who was kind of a little broke to go to private school, and the girl who everyone thought was the class slut, and then the other closeted gay kid, and we were our own little misfit toys. You know, we just sat together at lunch because, for different reasons, no one wanted to sit with any of us. So, never see empathy from Chantal. No. Like, I don't think, like, when her grandmother died, Chantal could only think about how she felt. She couldn't be there for the rest of her family, and she made it sound like there was hard feelings there. Because, of course, Chantal was texting when she was getting her last breath. Not, like, you know what I mean? Like, she was there, but... She said she has problems with her family for how that went down, and I imagine they have it with her. If she was sitting there texting and, you know, she passed. So, I don't know. I don't know. I'm going to sat with you. Thank you. It's always good company. The hospitals being what they are, it's more regional than countrywide, I think, whether you can get through the line fast enough. There's a couple hospitals near here where one, the line is out the door in the ER all the time. It's one of the city hospitals. If you go up into the sticks, you got to drive 45 minutes, but you're more likely to get seen in the ER within 45 minutes. I went in with a couple broken ribs and I was in and out of there in 2.5 hours with x-rays, all of it. Natter was more important to her than her grandmother. She made her choices. You only have so many times to go see grandma, you know, and you don't always know the minute and the hour someone will pass, but her grandmother was sick and her grandmother was a little bit older. So, and grandma was the rescuer. I feel like grandma probably was the one who came to Chantal's side. She's had a very hard life. Here, honey, here's a 20. Go get some candy. Bring the change. So the relationship might have been different because her mom was a pretty young mom. So, I don't know. Well, bullied as a kid, and when we graduated, a few of them got hired where I work, so the bully continued into young adulthood at the workplace, and management wouldn't stop it. I don't like the word bullying with adults, but that exact behavior does happen, exactly what you're talking about. I just think bullying, I think kids, but definitely adults can have others make their life hell just for the sake of doing it. They don't even need a reason. So, well, folks, we are coming up on the hour shortly. Thank you all for joining. Thank you all for being here. Do you think Mark and you would have been friends in high school? No. No, because Mark never had to come out. He was just already gay. He just popped out of the womb like that. I was not. I kind of knew I was. Definitely. I knew I wasn't exclusively straight, but I kept it to myself until I was at least out of the high school and out of the house. And then it was an easier kind of way to do it. So, well, thanks for being here. Thanks for having a chat. It was a good time. I had a good time with this chat. I was glad I was able to hopefully keep up. I hope y'all were enjoying your time while you're here. Please make sure to hit the thumbs up before you're on your way out. You can follow us on Facebook, SmokeySteveAndMarc, Instagram, SmokeySteveAndMarc, Twitter, SmokeySteveA. All our contact info is listed below as well. So thank you all for joining. There were some sensitive topics that went on in Girl World, and I think we discussed them in a way that was kind of okay. So, thanks for being here and being part of the discussion. Thank you, mods, for doing your job. Thank you, lurkers, for being here. And everybody in the chat, thank you all so much. So look after yourselves, and we will catch up with y'all tomorrow. We're going live at 6 p.m. Yes, Christine. Tomorrow at 6 o'clock. So it's an open chat. There's Foodie Beauty isn't the topic. She usually comes up. But anyone and anyone is welcome. All right? Thanks for being here, guys. Thanks for making this another good part of my weekend. And I hope y'all have a safe and happy weekend. Bye.